learners, I welcome you all to the fourth segment of lecture 42. I know the lecture is titled as Particular Exceptions for the Protection of Environment in International Investment Agreements, but as I have stated earlier, I'm also going to talk about certain other provisions which are there for protecting the environment in the International Investment Agreement. One such provision that I'm going to discuss now is right to regulate. The other provisions are Annexure Protocol to BIT containing environmental provisions. Then we will also look at other sort of very anomaly sort of a provision which you don't find generally in many BITs, but there are one or two BITs which talks about an environmental measure or protecting the environment in international investment agreements. So that is what I am going to cover in this segment. So with regard to right to regulate, we have had a very detailed discussion in the 5th week of the course, particularly lecture number 21-22. We discussed a lot about this particular provision. So I am going to be very brief about it here. So in an international investment agreement, you may find a heading as right to regulate. Even sometimes the content of this provision can also be found in other headings as well. So in the under that heading, right to regulate, what you may find is it will be an affirmation wherein the language of the provision will go like this, that the contracting parties affirm that they can take any measure for the protection of welfare and other public welfare measures. So basically, even in the 5th week, we had questioned what's going to be the significance of such a measure. Then I answered it in the context of Philip Morris versus Uruguay, wherein the investor questioned for a separate carve out and all of that. But if we look at such sort of an provision that merely affirms the regulatory power of the host state, then in that case, the legitimacy or the practical utility of this particular provision is debated highly among the scholars also. Jordan and Paul also say that such sort of a provision merely reiterate the power that the host state already has. Newcomb has been saying that other than creating an interpretative presumption on the minds of the arbitral tribunal that any measure taken for the protection of the environment in good faith cannot violate IAA obligations, what is going to be the significance of such a provision, right? Martini has a very poignant remark. I would actually subscribe to the remark that she had made. Martini stated that these are mere political statements and it does not create any legal obligations on the part of the contracting parties or even on the part of the investor themselves, right? So therefore, Martini says that more than this provision which merely reaffirms the regulatory right of the host state, the provisions that we discussed under the heading particular exceptions or even general exceptions may be useful. Rather than having a provision under the heading right to regulate, maybe if you put an exception in a substantive protection clause, then that could have practical utility, and then the tribunal may review while looking at the question of whether expropriation had taken place or not. It could give weightage to the exception clause and then it could decide that there is no expropriation, right? So this is the view that Martini has taken. So this is with regard to the provision right to regulate that you find in international investment agreement. So sometimes the right to regulate has a provision for protecting the environment as well. So to look at some of the example clauses, we've already discussed this in detail, but I just wanted to give you some example clauses wherein right to regulate provision talks about environment. If we look at Argentina Qatar BIT of 2016, Article 10 is titled as right to regulate, and it states that none of the provisions of this agreement shall affect the inherent right of the contracting parties to regulate within their territories through measures necessary to achieve legitimate policy objectives such as the protection of public health, safety, the environment, public morals, social and consumer protection. To give you another example, please look at Georgia Switzerland BIT of 2014. And if we look at the second paragraph of Article 9, it states that the adoption, maintenance or enforcement of such measures is subject to the requirement that they are not applied in an arbitrary or unjustifiable manner or do not constitute a disguised disguised restriction on investments of investors of the other contracting party. This is how the provision with regard to right to regulate finds a place in international investment agreement. Moving on, if we look at one other provision that again talks about environment, is you can find it in annexures protocol, whatever name you want to give to the appendage of the main text, main treaty, and sometimes you also find it in the diplomatic exchange of letters between two countries as well. So, in when we were discussing particular exception itself, I had stated that sometimes that provision will be found in the main text or in the annexures, and that, so since we have already discussed, I hope you have an idea about how a provision which talks about protecting the environment can also be found in annexures, annex protocol, or through exchange of diplomatic letters. With regard to exchange of diplomatic letters, I wanted to give you an example. If we look at the Germany-Haiti BIT of 1973, there was exchange of letters between the representatives of Germany and Haiti. So, Haiti representative Mr. Dr. Adrian Raymond, who was the Secretary of State, actually had written to His Excellency Mr. Erich A. Husch, the Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, and in that letter, the content of the letter, one part of the letter stated that for the purpose of facilitating operations and encouraging the expansion of capital investment by German nationals and companies, the Republic of Haiti will grant the necessary authorization to German nationals who wish to enter, stay or take paid employment in the Republic of Haiti in connection with capital investments made by German nationals or companies in Haiti, unless reasons of public safety and order and public health or morality preclude it from doing so. So, even these diplomatic exchange of letters are also binding on the parties, so that also get enough weightage before the arbitral tribunals. So, in this example, the one between Germany and Haiti, we saw that there was an emphasis on public health. So, that was an exception. So, any measure that could be taken for in furtherance of promoting public health, then that cannot be questioned, right. So, this is how the provision of public health or environment can get reflected in the annexures protocol, a diplomatic exchange of letters. Then even other than these, there are certain provisions that you will find in an international investment agreement. You cannot label it anymore, but still they are provisions for which allow the contracting parties to take measure for the protection of environment. So, to briefly discuss some of them, I would like to draw your attention to India Uzbekistan BIT of 1999. So, here if you look at Article 13, the title of the article is applicable laws, but take a look at the second paragraph. The second paragraph states that nothing shall restrict the receiving contracting party from applying measure to protect its vital interest and security, or in the case of emergency, in accordance with its laws on a non-discriminatory basis. I would also like to point out, you will not find the word health or environment here, but then it says vital interests. So, vital interests obviously include protecting the environment or public health, unless some tribunal takes a contrary view, that is also a possibility, but mostly we can agree that it includes environment. So, I have put this provision under the category of a provision that deals with environment. And if we also look at Nigeria Morocco BIT 2016, Article 14 is titled as Impact Assessment, and if you look at the content of this article, it states that the investors or the investment shall comply with environmental assessment, screening and assessment processes, applicable to their proposed investments prior to their establishment as required by the laws of the host state for such an investment, or the laws of the host state for whichever is more rigorous in relation to the investment in question. Investors, their investment and host state authority shall apply the precautionary principle to their environmental impact assessment and to decisions taken in relation to a proposed investment, including any necessary mitigation or alternative approaches of the precautionary principle by investors and investment shall be described in the environmental impact assessment they undertake. In the same treaty, you also find Article 18. Article 18 states that the investment shall, in keeping with good practice requirements relating to the size and nature of the investment, maintain an environmental management system. Companies in areas of resource exploitation and high risk industrial enterprises shall maintain current certification to ISO 14001 or an equivalent environmental management standard. So, these two provisions are something that you can't put a label to it or you cannot categorize, but I still wanted to highlight the fact that there can be provisions which is not in the nature of a general obligation, which is not in the nature of general exception, which is not in the nature of a particular exception, but still it could deal with protecting the environment in international investment agreement. Only for that purpose I had highlighted this. In the next video, I want to take one more segment to discuss how sometimes preamble also talks about environmental protection and what is the role or significance of mentioning about environmental protection in the preamble of an international investment agreement. That we will discuss in the next video. Thank you.